Hi guys, just going to put my little ticker on. Hi, I'm back to do the astrology for May. We've got a couple of big aspects basically coming up in May, but today I'm just going to focus on the one. Couple of announcements. First and foremost, to be quite honest with you, I am going to start doing some webinars shortly. The webinars are very much like workshops, except you don't have to leave the comfort of your own home. In the future, there's plans being put into place to do this in person. But for those that are not local to me, or for those that don't live in Leeds, the webinars are going to be obviously worldwide. So all you have to do is register. Information is going to be going out about that soon. And then it's very much like a Zoom call where I will be talking. You will all obviously be on screen. You can remove your camera if you want to, but we'll be basically going through astrology from the very beginning. So a little bit of history, a bit of an introduction, planets, signs, houses, and depending on how it goes, we'll go from there basically. So they're going to be coming up soon, so keep an eye out for that. Workshops. So again, off the back of the webinars, I am going to be doing more workshops in the future. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. Again, it's been put into motion and plans are underway. Sorry, my lips are dry. And plans are underway. So in the future, I will be doing more workshops for people locally in the area and for those people that have asked me, basically. I am going to be putting a video out soon for, well, just basically some information about what astrology is and what I use it for and how I use it, because all astrologers are different. I do tend towards the health side of things more. So I do a lot of medical astrology. I deal with people that have got conditions. I'm not a doctor, so don't, take anything that I say as a diagnosis, but I do offer general advice based on astrology charts. And I do study a lot of medicine and stuff as well, just because of my own conditions. And you'll be finding out about that more when I do the workshops, basically. No, sorry, not when I do the workshops. You'll be finding more out about that when I put the video out. I'm really going to go into some depth with regards to what I do, basically, what astrology is, what astrology isn't, how I use it, how it's beneficial for you as a client, and how it can develop, how you can use this information and use it over and over and over again. It's not repetitive. It's very deep philosophical teachings that can be applied to many different principles, basically. I do study lots of stuff. So those of you that know me know this, but I do study a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go into it here. So that will all be incorporated into the video. Ignore my outfit today. Right, let's crack on. So we've got some important stuff coming up, and what I'm going to do after I've told you all about what's coming up in May, I'm actually going to share my screen and I'm going to go through each rising sign. Now, you can look at your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign for what I'm about to do. The rising sign will be the most effective, basically, because that is what we are all rising to become. It's what we're all rising to be. It's what our soul's purpose is. It's how we're developing. So these kind of predictions are best if you stick with your rising sign. However, if you don't know your rising sign, you can stick to your sun and moon sign. Your sun really talks about you as a physical being. It talks about the atom. And then your moon sign really talks about your spiritual self, but it can also relate to the body. The moon very much is connected to health as well. But we're going to get into that. So massive aspect on the 2nd of May, we've got Mars sextile in Pluto. Mars has just gone into Aries today. Mars has gone into Aries, and it's his rulership, basically. Aries is ruled by Mars, so it's in its domicile, so it absolutely loves it here. It thrives here. It's comfortable here. Mars is all about power and direction and taking things forward, and it's about focus. So a lot of Aries people, or Aries the Aries collective, basically. Aries tends to be quite physical. You get a lot of athletes with strong Mars placements and that kind of thing, because it really talks about the physical body. It talks about strength. It talks about endurance. It talks about stamina, that drive, motivation. That's really what Aries is all about. Sextile in Pluto. Well, a sextile is an aspect that causes opportunities. Okay, so whenever you get a sextile, or if you've got sextiles in your chart, sextiles really talk about moments of opportunity or aspects of opportunity where these two planets are actually communicating and talking to each other. Because it's sextile in Pluto, Pluto is the traditional ruler. Sorry, rewind. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, but as time went on and as astrology developed and more things were discovered, and Pluto was discovered, let's just say, Mars ruled Pluto, but no, I'm getting confused. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. That's what I'm trying to say. Mars is the traditional ruler of the sign Scorpio. However, as we've advanced and as technology's advanced and as we've discovered more things and whatnot, you know, Pluto now rules Scorpio. So it's a dual sign. It has two ruling planets. So straight away there's some duality going on. So some push and pull type of energy, and it's with a means to manifest this opportunity that's about to present itself in your life. I'm going to go through it, so we're going to be able to see whereabouts in your life this could potentially be playing out. On the same day, on May the 2nd, we've got Pluto that goes retrograde. So this is even bigger, because not only have we got this sextile to Mars, we've also got Pluto retrograding. Now, retrograding goes inwardly, you know. So if you're thinking of it on a psychological platform, which is what we're doing, we're thinking of it from a psychological perspective. Pluto is all about healing, renewal, regeneration, purging, getting rid of what no longer serves us, because it's actually throwing us off our game, basically. So when Pluto goes retrograde, it's going to be in the sign of Aquarius. And that, again, it's the sign of healing. So this is very, very deep healing on a very personal level, I feel, with Pluto there, especially with Mars. And it's more about taking action towards that healing process, towards that cycle that we need to start. Mars sextile in Pluto. Okay, Mars does a cycle of the chart every 2 years. So Mars sextile in Pluto is going to happen every 2 years for the next 20 years, while Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius. Okay, so it goes back into Capricorn for a little bit. Let's have a look. It goes retrograde on May the 2nd, and then it goes direct again on October the 12th, I believe. So it's a few months where it's retrograde. And again, in that period, think about all the things that you need to redo in regards to Pluto's energy, Scorpio energy. It rules things like chunky money. It rules things like inheritances, taxes, shared resources, loans, debts, investments, interest rates, you know, things like that no one really likes to pay, but we have to, being part of the collective and that kind of stuff. So it can be quite scary, but it also represents wealth as well. Pluto is the planet of wealth. Mars is the planet of work and action. So there could be a lot of action being taken in regards to harvesting some type of wealth. Now, that can be anything. It doesn't have to be money. It's whatever wealth is to you. For some people, health is wealth. For some people, time is wealth. For some people, you know, resources are wealth. It really just depends on where your placements are. Mars and Pluto energy can be quite destructive. So there is this theme of letting go of what no longer serves us, just completely throwing caution to the wind and saying, like, I'm done with that now. Let me switch my focus. That's really what I'm picking up with this, because it's all about regeneration. Pluto wants to destroy, Mars wants to rebuild. And these two planets are interacting with one another. They're talking to one another in the sky, and they're saying, right, what shall I get rid of? And what are you going to replace it with? It's almost like getting rid of bad habits in order to exchange them for good habits, basically. And this really links in with the last video I did with regards to Taurus and all that energy going on in Taurus. You know, when the sun is in the sign of Taurus, or when the sun is in any sign, it really shines a light on that sign and says, look, this is where your focus needs to be. Everything manifests through the sun. So the sun is the primary source, and we all know that. So everything manifests through the sun. So all of this energy that's going on in the sky and how it's playing out in your life and your chart and everything else, it manifests through your sun sign. Oh, sorry, not through, well, yeah, through your sun sign personally, but more so seasonally or tropically. It's asking us to look at things of a Venusian nature, things of a Taurian nature. So things like material possessions, finances, food, diet, supplements. And, you know, I've done all of this before. You know what the second house is about. And the seventh house is also relationships, business partners, spouse, you know, agreements, legal contracts, that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen now. I do want to mention the moon phases that we've got coming up as well in May. So May the 8th, we've got the new moon in Taurus. Again, Taurus. So we're being drawn back to that. Resources, personal resources, things that we need for ourselves, for our betterment, for our well-being. The moon really talks about health. It talks about our sense of comfort, okay, our comfortability, basically. And in the sign of Taurus, Taurus is all about comfort. It's the Empress. So there's something going on with regards to at the new moon, you know, new cycles starting with regards to self-care, new cycles starting with regards to you know, finances. Maybe you might start a new job, maybe you might be expecting, let's just say, because the moon represents children and Taurus is all about pregnancy and birth and fertility. So it's a very fertile time, the 8th of May. I want you to understand as well that when I'm talking about these aspects, they don't just happen on the day and the moment that I'm talking about them. They actually happen on cycles. And some of these cycles can be really long. Some of these cycles are very short-lived. Mercury retrograde, for example, happens about 4 times a year. Pluto doesn't actually really move that fast. It completes a cycle every 245 years, I believe. So, you know, the fact that it's kind of, it's waxing and waning, or going direct and retrograde over a cusp. And a cusp means the line that divides 2 signs. So we've got Capricorn and we've got Aquarius. And basically what Pluto's doing is it's going, and it's almost like a pendulum, and it's swinging. And then it's like, right, when it moves into this sign, that's where it's going to stay for the next 20 years. And that's when it's going to be moving into the sign of Aquarius, and it's going to stay there actually, yeah, for the next 20 years. So there's going to be lots of transformation in regards to the general public, politics, laws, legislations, groups of people. Pluto really talks about dreams, hopes, and wishes, and it talks about the success that comes through hard work as well. It's kind of like the boon after the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn's all about hard work. Aquarius is all about reaping the rewards of a job well done, basically. So again, that's why it can talk to healing and things like that. On the 23rd of May, we have the sun, which is the trine Pluto. Okay, so sorry, yeah, the sun that's going to trine Pluto. So what that means is trine aspects are about flow, they're about ease. So it means that these 2 planets, there's no conflict. Okay, so Pluto's all about power and the sun is all about your identity. Pluto is all about regeneration and the sun is all about your purpose, you know, your place in the world, basically. So these are going to be talking to each other very, very nicely in the sky. Venus conjunct Jupiter. This is an aspect that I've already mentioned, and it's massive. Venus and Jupiter are the 2 benefic planets. This is basically the point that we've all been waiting for. This is everything that's going to culminate off the back of all this Plutonian crap, like I keep telling everybody. Venus is the one that's kind of giving the orders, and she's the one that's saying, bless them with this, basically. And again, it's not really an aspect that we're going to be looking at today. But further along in May, I'm going to be, you know, when it's coming up around the 23rd of May, we're going to be looking at that aspect more. But for today, we're just going to focus on the Mars into Aries, Mars ingress. On the 23rd of May, we've also got a full moon in Sagittarius. So the full moon is a culmination from the new moon in Taurus. So the new moon starts in Taurus, and then it opposes that as a full moon in Sagittarius, because the signs are not exactly the same sign, same size, basically. Sagittarius is all about beliefs. It's all about mobility. It's about movement, moving. I know there's a lot of people moving property at the moment. It's about travel. It's about higher learning, you know, and knowing better, basically, knowing better. That's what I think Sagittarius is about. Sagittarius really talks about the point of retirement. In my opinion, it talks about a time of retirement. You know, when everyone says, I just want to retire and, you know, go live on a nice beach somewhere with the love of my life and you know, and have all the grandkids running around and that kind of thing. That's really kind of Sagittarian energy, because it's like dreams, but it's like dreams that we aspire to, you know. It also rules religion, and it rules God, and it rules things like that. So there's a lot of prayer that comes under the sign of Sagittarius. There's a lot of sacrifice as well, you know, things that we need to sacrifice. Pluto cuts away. Sagittarius really talks about the sacrifices that we make in order to develop and grow and understand that we can't take everything with us. You know, it weighs us down. It really, really does. Sagittarius is mutable energy as well. So mutable is liable to change. So it's very easily influenced. So just be aware that just bear with me. We've got Jupiter that's sextiling Neptune on the day that of the full moon in Sagittarius, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. Again, that's an opportunity with regards to evolution spiritually. Neptune is a Jupiter-ruled sign. So it's in its domicile again. So again, that's a very, very powerfully potent placement. Jupiter sextiling, yeah, not sign, I meant planet. Jupiter sextiling Neptune is all about dreams and aspirations and God, basically. It's the essence of God. It's kind of like the divinity that exists within and without. It really talks about the collective, but it also talks about our personal connection to God. It talks about feeling like we've been chosen, like the chosen ones. And I think that might be a good way to summarize this as feeling like you're being chosen, basically. So this is the exciting part. I don't know if this is going to work because I've never done this before and I'm using a different platform. So we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to share my screen. Just bear with me a moment and then I'll be back to go through all the signs, basically. Okay, so I'm going to add this to my screen. Hopefully you can see that. I am going to zoom in a little bit. You can see that. I think that's all right. Okay, so if you can see here, we've got Mars. Mars is at 29 degrees of the sign of Pisces, but it's about to enter into the sign of Aries. I haven't written the exact time, but I know that this chart that I drew up was earlier on today. So yeah, I've set the ascendant or the rising sign at 0 degrees Aries. So if you're an Aries rising, if you're an Aries sun, or if you're an Aries moon, that means that this conjunction is actually going to, Mars into the sign of Aries sextiling Pluto is really going to affect you in your 1st and 11th house, because that's the houses that are containing Pluto and Mars. What does that mean? Mars is sitting right on the ascendant for you. So with Aries, there's a lot of go action at the moment. You might be feeling like you're being swept off your feet a little bit, but it's like all systems go. Pluto's really adding a source of power to that, and it's adding a source of just like power. I can't explain it any further. There are going to be groups of people that are involved in this transit for you, people coming together, like the collective. So there could be something going on with regards to the personal collective. So people that you deal with collectively on a personal level. So that could be, this house doesn't necessarily represent family, but if you could think about family as a group of people, you could think about you know, the people that you associate with at university, let's just say, that's a group of people. These are people that are associates, or they associate with one another, but they're also quite powerful. So these are people that are in positions of power with Pluto here. At the moment, it's at 2 degrees. That takes us to the second house. The second house is all about our resources and the things that we need in order to sustain ourselves. So this for Aries is very, very personal, which is quite obvious because it's all Mars energy, all Mars energy. There could be a tendency towards conflict. There could be a tendency towards stress. You know, Mars and Pluto are inflammatory planets. Mars is known as a malefic planet. It does cause problems, but it's not the larger malefic, you know, it's the smaller malefic. It tends to cause a sense of conflict. So you could be somebody that's feeling a sense of tension at the moment, or some conflict in regards to people of power, or groups of people in a powerful position. Now, I know that that's true for me. I'm going through stuff at the moment with regards to that, but this is where it's playing out in your chart, basically. And what's going to happen is this is going to reset every 2 years. So every 2 years, Mars is going to re-enter the sign of Aries, and then it's going to trigger this sextile to Pluto. So it's almost like a check-in. So if you are dealing with people in places of authority, let's just say, there could be like a reassessment every couple of years. You know, where are you now? Where are you getting on? I'm also seeing it could also be relate to something in regards to investing. People investing into your idea, people investing into your understanding of a situation. That's very personal, actually, through personal. It could even be through personal experience. 29 degrees is the degree of clairvoyance. I actually have my Sag rising is 29 degrees, and that's what I do as a job. You know, I am clairvoyant. So Mars right now is supercharging Aries with regards to future thinking, the visionary. You know, that's what Aries does. It visualizes, and then it's like out the gate. Aries doesn't really tend to stick around that long to think things through. They are the risk takers, so there could be. I am actually picking up something to do with risky business, taking some type of a risk, or taking some type of a well, yeah, like a risk basically. But I feel like this is a high value risk with Pluto there, because Pluto talks about wealth. So first house, 11th house for you, Aries, and again that can be for your sun, moon, and rising. Okay, I am going to change my software basically, because what I need my software to do, it doesn't do. So for the moment, I'm just using an online tool. This is Astro Seek. So if you are wanting to have a play around with your astrology chart, then I suggest that you use Astro Seek, and also astro.com, because that's pretty accurate as well. So for you, Taurus, here we go. We have got this aspect playing out in your 12th house. So Mars has just entered your 12th house. So for you, Taurus, you are about to embark on some type of spiritual pursuit. Mars adds a sense of direction. The 12th house is all about what's hidden. It's about the self that's hidden, the side of the self that's hidden, the side of the self that we keep hidden. It also rules hospitals. It rules places of confinement. So Mars entering into the sign of Aries in your 12th house is really asking you to shift your focus towards spirituality, spiritual development, starting that relationship with self, which ultimately is spirituality. You know, you can think of it from a God concept, or you can think of it from a cosmic concept, or you can think of it as from a personal concept. It doesn't matter. It really is all just the same thing, just different ways of understanding it. So Mars into the 12th house really talks about maybe even experiencing a lack of energy. Okay, like you ain't got no energy to do anything. Pluto's really adding a sense of, I'm just getting like a vibe of exhaustion a little bit, actually, because we've got Pluto up in the 10th house. Pluto up in the 10th house is the house of career. It could even be that you're feeling a sense of burnout from the people that you're working with, you know, the groups of people. To me, it's showing that there is activity there, basically, with Mars sextiling the 10th house. There's activity in regards to I'm seeing like power dynamics within a group. That's really what it is. It's kind of like who's in charge, who's in control. What are we doing? Which way are we going? And you may be feeling a little bit lost in regards to that at the moment, because Mars, it kind of loses its sense of direction in the 12th house. The 12th house is the cosmic waters. It's the universal waters. So it's very, very broad, and it's very, very deep, and it's very, very everything. It's also a house that's quite difficult to explain. So people asking, what's wrong with you? Why you look a bit deflated? Why have you got no energy? You might not even ask questions for him, and you might just be like, well, it's just everything, basically. However, I am seeing that your career or your choice of career or profession or something like that may have something to do with it. This is about, you've got to keep in mind the idea of power. Mars is power, Pluto's power. These things are interacting. So it's almost like there may be some type of discrepancy with regards to who is the actual authority in this situation, something along those lines. 10th house is the house of government. Government doesn't have to be state, the state government or whatever like that. Government can just be government of the self and the body. So there is something here with regards to maybe some type of surgery that's required. Pluto is the surgeon, and in the 10th house, that rules the bones, teeth, skin, and knees. Okay, so you could be having problems with your knees and stuff like that. Okay, Mars in the 12th house actually does suggest some type of surgery. On the knees, it could even be, I'm actually even getting something as specific as varicose veins, varicose veins being removed or something like that, because Aquarius rules the calves. Pluto is about renewal or regeneration or removal, because it rules death. And then obviously Mars there as tools in the 12th house of hospitals. It could be that you're actually going in for some type of surgery to have something removed from the knee down, basically. Let's see. It is actually sitting next to Neptune in the sign of Pisces again, where Neptune is Neptune is the planet that rules long-term health conditions, and Pisces is the sign. So Neptune's in its rulership at the moment, and it's in conjunction as well. Yeah, or it will be soon. Let's have a look. Oh, it's in conjunction. It's in conjunction with Mars. So Neptune and Mars working together again. Yeah, surgeries. Not just that, obviously, but that's one of the things that I'm really picking up. I am even seeing something about occupational therapy, even some type of occupational therapy, or maybe it's even maybe it even has something to do with an injury that happened at work. So work and the team at work. The team of people in authority, so HR resources, that kind of stuff. They're the ones actually negating this situation, or they're the ones that are actually overseeing your healing process, if that makes sense. Could be something to do with that. So again, very brief overview for you, Taurus. We're going to move on to the sign of Gemini now. If this is resonating, guys, if you want to let me know, then please do. It's always interesting to me to see what's actually happening with people as we, move around the wheel, basically. So Gemini, this is for you. So you've got the Mars sextile Pluto aspect happening. Mars is just moving into your 11th house, and Pluto is 9th house. It's going to retrograde back into the 8th house and then the 9th house again. So these houses, what have we got? We've got intimacy, 8th house. This talks about our intimate relationships. 9th house is all about God, divinity, beliefs, systems, religions, that kind of stuff. And then we've got the 11th house, which is groups of people. Groups of people. So there could be something going on here with regards to your intimate connections, or the beliefs that you have with regards to the people that you're connected to intimately. Something like that. You may have because we're moving from the 10th house to the 11th house, and Mars really talks about some type of dynamic shift, you know, something like that. It could be that you change your job, okay? So you might want to it's quite interesting, this one. Let me just think. So I'm picking up something with Mars here in the sign of Aries. Aries is very independent. Aries is the entrepreneur. They're the ones that want to go out, go about the business and do things their way. Okay. 11th house is all about groups of people. So there could be a want to separate from a group of people in order to do things your own way. This could be people that you've met at work or in the profession who you may be feeling might be getting a little bit too close for comfort or something along those lines, because the 8th house, again, it's the house of intimacy. And at the moment, this is being ruled by Capricorn. Capricorn links us back to this 10th house. And again, Pisces is about what needs to be done away with. So there may be certain people, certain individuals, you know, people that just kind of like to push the weight around a little bit. Let's be honest. It's almost like you're getting a bit fed up of that now, and you might be wanting to turn your back on it and kind of head off in a new direction. The 11th house is all about new beginnings, basically. It's kind of like a higher octave of the first house. The 10th house is a higher octave of the first house in that it's kind of like a second ascendant, but 11 is 1-1. So it's 1-1 twice, if that makes sense. So if you understand numerology, you'll see the sense in that. But again, it talks about aspirations, dreams, desires, you know, the things that we want to complete in our life, basically. And Mars is taking action in that area. Okay, so you may be thinking to yourself, with regards to your career and your profession and the thing that you're doing at the moment, yeah, it served me well. Yes, it's done what I needed it to do. However, I'm much more focused on what I want to do now. You know, I'm much more focused on things like I want to go off on my own path. I want to discover my own what's the word? I want to do things my way, basically. It's almost like saying I don't want to take orders off anybody anymore. So that could be playing out for you. Pluto, because Mars is sitting right on your midheaven at the moment, there could be some type of conflict or some type of confrontation with an individual in a group of people, if that makes sense. Pluto is the one that is a bit of an outcast. Okay, so it could be that something's been thrown out of the group, something's been thrown out of the collective, basically. So again, it could be like I wouldn't say a loss of a job, but it could be like a resignation or wanting to leave or something like that. So it's very much career related for you, Gemini, this taking action, you know, this powerful action. It's almost like saying, do you know what, I'm done with it, I'm on to something new. It's almost like you're not thinking about the decision, you're just doing it. It's like, I've had enough, boom, I'm gone. So that's what it is for you, Gemini. We'll move on to the sign of Cancer, see what's coming up for Cancer. In the future, I will be looking to do a bit more in-depth readings, you know, with the rising signs and everything, because I think people can actually really take something from this. This is the first time I've done it, so just bear with me. Okay, so for you, Cancer, you've got this playing out on your midheaven, and it's sextiling Pluto in your 8th house. So very similar to Gemini, really, in a sense that it's to do with your intimate relationships and how you want to be seen in the world, how you want to present yourself. The 10th house is all about our external self. It's kind of like how everybody views us. Not the people that we're close to, not the people that are around us, but like everybody, like the world. It's our impression on the world and the world's impression on us. With Mars here and Aries especially, it could be intense for you at the moment. You know, life could be pretty intense for you at the moment. You could be going through a lot of hardships because the 10th house is naturally ruled by Capricorn. Capricorn talks about hard work and hardships. So there could be something that you're working really hard on. You could be, I am seeing like a state of healing with everybody with this Mars conjunct Neptune. It's about working on our spiritual self, working on our spiritual development and process and things like that. Mars and Neptune on the midheaven and sextile in an occult house really talks to look into occult practices, things such as astrology, spirituality. Yeah, I always look at the eighth house as Egypt. Egypt was a really magical place back in the day. There was all sorts of stuff going on there. It was probably like the most advanced time of um of our world, of our worldly existence, really, as far as I'm concerned. So you could be looking to unorthodox practices. That's what I'm trying to say. Unorthodox methods in order to heal a long-term health condition that could be affecting you on a physical level. Excuse me, could be affecting you on a physical level. It could again be to do with the knees, the bones, the teeth, something like that. It could even be to do with some type of surgery. It could be to do with some type of cutting away of something. Let's have a look. Yeah, I feel like it's almost like finding a sense of value in things that were once very obscure to you. Basically, it's almost like you kind of like mulling that over and finding and pulling a sense of value from it. The ninth house and the 10th house, the ninth house really talks about lessons learned. It's like when we get to that end of life, that phase of life where we die in the eighth house, we get to the ninth house and we're like, right, let me analyze the situation. What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Etc. Etc. The ninth house is also the house of competition, athletics and things like that. So with Mars on the midheaven, it's almost like focus is being shifted from some type of competitive nature into something much more directed and independent. Okay, so you could have been working in a group or some type of a group dynamic, let's just say, and now your attention has shifted more to your personal self and your personal position and your personal ranking and where you see yourself as opposed to where you see the group. Again, Pluto in Aquarius could talk about cutting away of that group and letting go of it and saying, look, I just want to do things my way now. I don't really want to be a part of this anymore. And letting bygones be bygones. So there's something going on there. So Mars at the top of the sky as well. Mars at the top of the sky really talks about being focused on external things, being focused on your outer reality, and what it is that you want to manifest. Okay, what it is that you want to bring into being. Pluto is the phoenix that rises from the ashes, and that's why it represents renewal. Mars is really that catalyst that starts that whole process, basically, and it represents sex, it represents arousal, and it represents that state of just like being really, really worked up. So there could be something here about kind of a sense of renewal when it comes to your libido. Let's just say, you may have possibly even began an intimate relationship because Pluto's in the eighth house. You may have began an intimate relationship. Maybe this relationship isn't something that's public knowledge right now, but it's about to be because obviously it's in the sign of Aquarius. So this might be something that actually backtracks a little bit before it actually comes out and is made public. Mars there is really taking action, and it's basically saying, put your effort here, put your effort here. This situation is going to come back around, basically. So if you're not dealing with somebody at the moment, and this is only one example, so let me just make that very clear, that person could very much enter your life again as Pluto moves back into the seventh house, but then it kickstarts a whole new process. And then what will happen is every 2 years, this thing will be reanalyzed, and that's going to happen for the next 20 years. So it can be quite big, actually. So that's for you, Cancer. Okay, so now we're moving on to the sign of Leo. Now, what's going on for you, Leo? You've got Mars and you've got this Mars-Neptune conjunction. It's very much... Let me just... Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I've done this properly. Now, again, like I said, this is not something that I usually do on this platform. So if it is incorrect, I apologise, but I'm hoping that it's not. Okay, so we've got Leo. Leo, you have this placement between your 8th and 9th house. So Mars has just entered into your 9th house. Aries is ruling your 9th house, and it's sextiling Pluto on your descendant. Okay, so what does this mean? Mars in the 9th house is about really shifting your focus and your attention towards your belief system, travel, um, growth and development, stepping outside your comfort zone, um, being pushed towards something foreign. Okay, so you may be wanting to step outside your comfort zone and experience something that you've never experienced before, basically something that adds a sense of magic to your life, because Neptune's all about magic. In the 8th house, the 8th house is an occult house, and again, you know, with Neptune here, it could be that you're wanting to you know, step into something much more, just something a lot deeper. Okay, so let's just say that spiritual depth. That's what I really like about the 9th house. It's about that spiritual depth. It's really kind of not enough to know that there is a God. It's like, but what is it? What is he? What is she? What is it? And it asks a lot of questions. Sagittarius is a sign that rules communication, so it rules broadcasting, and it rules things being put out there, being put out into the world, and it rules things like publishing and books. Sextiling Pluto on the descendant. Now, the descendant really represents the other. Okay, so another person, other people, other business partners, but also the 7th house is the house of sociability, and for you, it's ruled by Aquarius. So, just so you know, guys, as well, I am using whole signs for this chart. So if you're looking and saying, "Oh, well, that's not really," it doesn't line up with my chart, it may be because your chart is a different system that's used. This is whole sign to make it easier. So Pluto on the descendant, Pluto really talks about letting go, really. It does. The 7th house can represent divorces as well, because it represents marriage, but also divorce, because Libra rules the 7th house, and Libra has a sword that cuts both ways. You know, it's a very, I believe that the 7th house is a karmic house, even though I don't think it's deemed a karmic house. I think it is a karmic house. But there's something here to do with a letting go of a relationship, or letting go of a relationship that's connected to a group of people. So that could indicate family. It could indicate family that don't live locally, because the 9th house is all about foreign land. So you could actually be releasing a relationship with regards to, or in connection with, foreign lands and foreign people and foreign families, if that makes sense. It's almost like these two things are connected. It could even be that mhm. It could even be that you're wanting to let go of a relationship or a situation, so that you're able to travel more independently, because Mars in Aries is all about movement, and the 9th house is travel. So it's almost like, you know, this situation might be weighing you down or holding you back, because that's what Pluto does do a little bit, until it obviously benefits us. It's kind of like casting a shadow on this situation, because it's not really where your focus is, if that's what I'm, you know, for lack of a better word, for better words, can't speak. It's almost like a relationship is casting a little bit of a shadow for you at the moment. So you may be wanting to get rid of that, so that you're able to move more independently and more freely. Okay. Aquarius talks about the group. It talks about, so this could even be the fact that you're wanting to let go of a business, let's just say, because it's the house of agreements, groups of people. Pluto's a position of power. Okay, Mars is the entrepreneur, and it's almost like saying, I want to let go of this business now, so that I can start and pursue something else, or something like that. When I say get rid of the business, you may be selling the business for a nice lump sum, basically, because Pluto is chunky money, and it is making aspects to the 9th house, and the 9th house is the house of expansion. Okay, so it's almost like it's going to open up your horizons, it's going to broaden your horizons, because when this situation plays out, maybe you could actually be in a situation where you receive some money from a divorce settlement or something like that, or you actually receive a payout every couple of years in regards to a business, let's just say. So for the next 20 years, let's say you got divorced from a partner. Okay, this is just an example. Let's say you get divorced from a partner, and you decide, okay, look, you can run the business, you can keep the business, but you know, every couple of years, we're going to kind of go through the accounts. Basically, we're going to go through everything, and we're going to make sure that I am receiving what it is that what's legally and rightfully mine, basically. So it may be that every couple of years there is some type of a renewal or some type of a do-over of some type of a payout towards your dividends, basically, is what I'm trying to say, like a dividend every couple of years or something like that. I don't even know if dividends get paid out every couple of years, I don't know, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Pluto wants to destroy and renew, okay, and it's in the 7th house of relationships, partnerships, businesses, and agreements and things like that. Mars is all about power and movement and heading off in a new direction, and that's the 9th house of foreign travel. So it's like you wanted to move away from a situation, get away from it. Basically, it's not serving you very well, and it's not playing into your desires, is what I'm trying to say. 9th house can represent desires as well, so it's not playing into your long-term goals. Okay, so let's move on to the next sign, which would be Virgo. And I think I'm going to have a little break after this and just go refresh my cup of coffee because it's cold. And it's not even coffee, it's tea. So yeah, Virgo. So for you, Virgo, this is happening in your 8th house. Okay, so the 8th house is the house that it's difficult to see. Okay, think of it this way: the 8th house rules things like death. Okay, and everybody hates that word, and to be quite honest with you, I don't blame them. However, death is not necessarily a bad thing. It just talks about things ending. Okay, death is the word for an ending, basically. And it's almost like the 8th house is where we go when we die, and nobody knows where we go when we die, really, ultimately. We have like an idea based on the information that's available to us now, either spiritually or in books or whatever, but in actual fact, nobody knows for certain. Nobody can tell you for certain. And proof as well. So Mars moving into the 8th house really talks about a shift in perspective or focus when it comes to things of a very, very deep, very secret, very even dark, maybe, nature. Dark doesn't mean bad, it just means unseen. It's an occult house. So again, lots of focus on occult things of an occult nature. I feel like this may be to benefit you and your position at work, or even just in your day-to-day life and your day-to-day routines. It's almost like you're saying, right, I need to make some changes. I need to cut some things out of my life. Okay, I know it's going to be difficult because Mars usually is, but it's in regards to my long-term health condition. Okay, with Neptune sat here. So you may be kind of getting deep into some type of occult study. Now, occult studies can be anything, basically. It's quite broad. It's not just ghosts and ghoulies. You know, there's lots of other stuff that falls under that remit, and it's basically just occult means secret. It just means secret studies. You know, things that people miss, things that people don't know, things that are not actively promoted in mainstream. What's the word? What is the bloody word? I hate it when I do this. I do it often. It's not mainstream society, but you know, curriculum like they teach you at school and things like that. You know, this is stuff that's not mainstream, and also this rules taboo. So the 8th house is anything taboo, anything to do with crime, you know, things like that. It could even, Mars in the 8th house could even represent sex work, you know, sex work, but that doesn't have to be physical sex work. It could be working on the sacral chakra, healing sex work, healing the body and the genitalia, let's just say, following, you know, what am I trying to say here? Can't get my bloody words out. Healing the reproductive system with occult study, with occult knowledge of chemistry, basically. Pluto is really adding a sense of power to this as well. It's really putting you in a powerful position. So if you are somebody that's really kind of getting into the occult, really getting into you know, the secrets of the universe and where do we go and that kind of thing, then Pluto's really amping you up and it's saying, yeah, do it, because Mars and Pluto both 8th house, you know, the rulers of the 8th house. So this is really important for you, Virgo. Yeah. Again, we've got Neptune sitting in that 7th house of long-term health conditions. Mars is going to be moving away from that, okay? So your focus is going to be lessened. I think I need some I need some elocution lessons because my mouth doesn't work how I want it to. In natural fact, I think that's to do with my brain injury. So I apologise, but hopefully you can understand what I'm trying to say. But basically, yeah, so there's a lot going on beneath the surface for you guys, basically, is what I'm trying to say. A lot going on. Some very, very deep stuff, actually, with Pluto there as well, making this sextile. It's almost like going really deep into the psyche. The 6th house is the house of health. It's the house of day-to-day routines, you know, the things that we do on a regular basis. I'm even getting some type of group therapy or regular attendance of some type of group healing, okay? Because again, the 6th house is the house of health. Aquarius rules groups, okay? And then we've got this Pluto here. So maybe, you know, the fact that if you are attending these type of group sessions, let's just say, they're really amping up your focus when it comes to your deep spiritual deeply spiritual and intimate connection to self. Okay, it's really really important, really important actually. If you're wanting to get into things such as meditation and really sinking into the psyche, this is a brilliant aspect for that, I believe, because it's almost like, you know, Pluto is the gatekeeper. He's the one that allows passage. Really, he's the ruler of the underworld. Mars is associated with Pluto. So it's almost like Pluto's allowing you passage into the underworld in order to bring back some of its teachings and apply them to yourself in terms of physical health and healing, mental health and healing, not just on a personal level, but on a collective level. So it's almost like you are delving into this underworld in order to extract information that you can apply to yourself, but through that process you are also healing other people as well. Wow. So that's a big one for you. And in all fairness, Virgo, it really doesn't surprise me for the simple fact that you are the sign of service. You know, you are the serviceable sign. You will do for others that as you do for yourself. You know, back in the day, Virgo was a sign that ruled slaves. So that's why it's linked to service. So yeah, so it's almost like I feel like you may even be thinking of this as a service that you provide. You may be thinking of this as, oh, well, if I figure this out for myself, maybe then I can provide this as a service. Maybe I can bring this back and use this in my day-to-day job role or something like that. It might not be that you do that as a job specifically, but whatever it is that you're learning, it's almost like you're utilizing that and you're using it as a tool. You know, Mars's tools. You're using it as a tool to transform your day job, basically. Okay, so let's go to the next sign, which is Libra, and then I will go for a break. In fact, you know what? I am going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to put a quick pause on this video, and then we'll be back to work through the rest of the zodiac because we're halfway there now, so it makes sense. Okay, so we're back. I'm going to do Libra now. Libra rising, sun and moon. Again, just to kind of reiterate, if you follow your rising sign, that's probably going to be the most accurate. However, the sun and moon, because they are closely related to you, are going to play into this as well. So you can look for your sun and moon sign too, but again, rising sign would be the best one. I've made myself a cup of tea to stare at because I always do it and I never drink them. So now that I've done that, I'm going to get back into it. So Mars is sitting on your descendant, Libra. Okay, now this is an interesting one. Libra naturally rules the 7th house, but at the moment you have your opposite Aries ruling your 7th house. So this is really kind of a shift for you in terms of what it is that you're naturally attuned to. Libra is all about relationships. It's all about the other. It's all about, again, like I said, partnerships, business partnerships, agreements, legalities, documents, that kind of thing. These are personal to you, okay? Because now you're in the 1st house. So we can look at this as, agreements that you sign personally, basically, because we've got Aries ruling the 7th house. So if it is to do with some type of agreement, some type of contract, maybe a business deal or something like that, you may even be going into business independently. Okay, you may be wanting to set up some type of situation independent of other people. Okay, Mars here on the descendant really talks about cutting out letting go of stress, actually, letting go of stress, letting go of a stressful situation. Mars causes stress, it's inflammatory, and it's almost like Mars. I'm saying cutting out a lot of stress. I'm actually wrong. So let me go back and let me start again. Mars is entering into the sign of Aries. Aries is ruling your 7th house. Okay. So Mars is really shifting your focus towards other people. Okay. Relationships, agreements, contracts, that kind of thing. This is very personal for you because you're ruling the 1st house. It's Libra rising. Personal agreements in relationships. What am I willing to tolerate? What am I willing to not? What am I willing to deal with? What am I willing to not? Mars is the sign of the will. Will you? So you could actually potentially receive some type of proposal, maybe. Will you? Because we've got Pluto here, which talks about transformation, and it's in the 5th house of relationships. So somebody may even be wanting to transform some type of a relationship into something more serious. The 5th house is the house of children. It's the house of casual sex. It's the house of friends with benefits is what I'd call it. The 6th house is the house of dating. So it's also almost like dating with intention. The 5th house is kind of like a casual fling. So you may be wanting to do away with that, okay, because we've got Aquarius in this 5th house, and the 5th house rules groups of people. So it could be, I'm not saying that this is everybody, take it as a pinch of salt. At the end of the day, it depends what your chart says. However, one of the energies that can be pulled from this is, cutting out multiple sexual partners. So if you are somebody that tends to prefer anonymity, I can't say that word, why can't I say it? Then you may be wanting to kind of focus more on that and cut out, the fact that there is a lot of people in the dating pool, let's just say. Options, cutting out options. You really want to focus on something much more independent when it comes to your personal relationships with other people. You may even be wanting to separate yourself from a family dynamic, okay, as well. The 5th house is the house that rules children and lovers and that kind of thing. So it does rule the father, and it can rule the family, basically. So it could be like someone could have even recently experienced the loss of a father. If that's the case, then condolences. But this really talks about using that experience of loss, maybe, let's just say, using that experience of loss to shift your attention towards personal, what you agree with on a personal level, what you are willing to tolerate from other people, let's just say. and deal with when it comes to other people. You've got to remember that Mars in the tarot rules the emperor. The emperor is the boss. The emperor is the one that tells others what to do. So it could even be that you're entering into some type of an agreement with other people where you actually take a lead role. You are the boss. You are the one in charge. You are the one giving the directions, or something along those lines. It could be that this is connected to family. It could be connected to some type of a family business, because Pluto is the sign of business. You know, Pluto doesn't ramp and it gets down to business. So it could be something to do with that as well. It could even be trying to manifest some type of a dream that you've had for yourself with regards to your work and your career, and the, you know, the amount of say and play that you have in regards to that. If you're an entrepreneur, you tend to do what it is that you want to do for your business. When you work for somebody else, when you're an employee, you tend to be the one that's told. So there could be some type of a shift of wanting to kind of release yourself from a situation, in order to focus on your personal pursuits, basically. Yeah. This to me it sings quite nicely to the Taurus reading that I've just done. It's kind of a similar energy in the fact of you wanting to kind of let go of multiple options to focus on the one. Okay, so it is very relationship based, which doesn't surprise me with it being Libra, you know, Libra rising. But yeah, it's something to do with the dynamic of family, lovers, children, groups of people, multiple partners, you know, and basically the role that you play in those dynamics, you know, with Mars and Aries. So that's for you, Libra. Scorpio, let's see what's going on for you. We're almost done, guys. In future, these will be time stamped so that you can click straight to your sign. You don't have to listen to me, but today that's not going to happen. So this is happening for you, Scorpio, in your sixth house. Okay, so Mars is moving into your sixth house, so your focus is very much going to be on work, your day-to-day life, your day-to-day routines, your workout program, your diet, your you know, the sixth house is the house of dating again, things that you do kind of that reoccur basically. It's also the house of health. So that's where your focus is going to be, okay? And with Pluto sextiling this, it's opening up opportunities in regards to children, mothers, females, the home, basically, and private affairs. Okay, so the fourth house is the house of privacy. It's about private affairs. It's the house of secrets. You know, it's the house where we keep things to ourselves. Okay, and it's also the house of comfortability. Okay, so there could be a situation where you're not feeling very comfortable at the moment because Pluto's there causing a sense of issue. Again, it could be that there's a bit of a dark cloud in the home at the moment with regards to a family group dynamic. Which is really pushing you towards some other form of employment or some other form of healing even, or something like that. Pluto really asks us to let go. Okay, that's what it does. And say even if it's scary, even if it's really scary for us to do, it's almost like when you're little and your mum or your dad say to you, no, ride the bike, and you're saying, I'm scared, I'm going to fall. And it's like, well, if you fall, what's the worst that can happen? We'll pick you back up, we'll put you on the bike, and then off you go. And it's almost like that's what Pluto's saying. It's saying like, this is really hard to release, but when you do release it, it's really going to be the catalyst for the rest of your life, because the sixth house is your you know, it's your life basically. It's the life outside of the family. It's the life that you kind of choose for yourself basically. If you think about the sixth house is the house of employment, well, you choose your employment. Most people do anyway. You choose your employment, and that is connected to this family dynamic. It's almost like, you know, something that's been going on in private. It's almost like, right, I need to get rid of this. I need to let go of it. It's holding me back. It's not doing me any favors. So it's opening, Mars entering into the sixth house is opening up an opportunity and saying, switch your focus to your independent needs, basically, your independent schedule. You know, it's almost like saying, like, separate yourself from that situation and establish, because that's what Aries and Mars does, establish your own personal sense of routine. There's something going on here with regards to possibly even feeling like your routine is stunted because there is a lot of responsibility in regards to the family. Aquarius is the healer. Healers tend to, you know, have some type of responsibility over the other. Aquarius is linked to intellectual studies, high intellectual studies. So kind of the professions that fall under the sign of Aquarius, sorry, are things like astrologers, are things like men of science, you know, things that are really complex and difficult for us to understand. So there is some complexity here, and it's almost like saying, like, this has gotten really, really difficult. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm just going to focus on myself. So there is a shedding away, so to speak, with regards to you, Scorpio, which again doesn't surprise me, being that you are the sign of regeneration and renewal. Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius, this is going on in your fifth house of creativity and recreational fun. So fun, basically. Jupiter at the moment is in the sign of Taurus, which we know, sat next to Uranus, which we know, and in May, later on this year, it's going to be transited by Venus, which is a benefic planet. Mars into the sign of Aries, it's all about independent fun. You know, what do I want to do for fun? Where do I want to go? You know, what do I want to paint today? You know, what do I want to cook today? The fifth house is the house of hobbies and interests. So you're going to be paying much more attention to what it is that you find interesting, in order to maybe find some type of a hobby or some type of creative pursuit. It's the house of children. So, you know, children, you could be shifting your attention towards your children more, particularly the firstborn, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, but not necessarily. But it's almost like saying, let's do something with the kids, let's go somewhere, you know, something like that. It's about taking action. Let's get out the house, you know. And the Mars is leaving the fourth house. The fourth house is ruled by Pisces, so this is really kind of an isolated home, a home of isolation, where there's, you know, obviously it's comfortable for you, but it's you know, you may like to spend a lot of time alone at home, or that kind of thing, or, you know, not in a sense of being shut off, but just kind of sitting in your own energy, because Pisces is all about our personal energy, you know. And you're basically saying, like, look, I've done that for long enough now. Let me switch my focus towards other pursuits. And let me involve the children. Let me involve something that's fun. Let me involve something that's recreational. You know, what can we do? Where can we go? The fifth house is the house of luck, risks, gambling, that kind of stuff. Art, again, like I said. So there's a lot of recreational activity going on for you, Sagittarius, in this fifth house. And Pluto in the third house really opens up an opportunity for communication on a very, very healing level, because again, Aquarius, Pluto, these are very generational planets and signs, meaning they regenerate. Aquarius regenerates mentally, and Pluto regenerates, I'd probably say, emotionally. It's not it's not an easy regeneration, but it does. It's almost like clearing out all those old stagnant, just played out emotions in order to make way for new ones. Okay, and that's really what's going to happen in the fifth house, because the fifth house is about fun, and development of a thing. So there could be some type of a cutting out or regenerating friendship groups, things like that. Because the third house rules friendships, it rules communication, it rules messages, it rules correspondence, it rules social media, and anything of that sort, basically. You could be wanting to do away with social media. Maybe you feel like you've got too many platforms. Maybe you just feel like you're just in demand too much because these groups of people constantly reaching out to you, and it's almost like it's causing a sense of hindrance, maybe, and you're just wanting to free yourself from that a little bit with Mars going into the fifth house of recreational fun. Pluto is known to work hard. Okay, again, it's linked to Mars, so Pluto is known to work hard, but it's almost like the hard work that's done beneath the surface, you know. So it may be taking a lot from you at the moment to just communicate with people, when it comes to groups, group activities, groups of people, that kind of thing, and all you want to do is just kind of leave that behind and have some fun. You know, it's almost like saying, you know, it's almost like it's been all work and no play. And it's like you're getting to the point where you say, look, I need to enjoy my life as well. I can't just be the source of knowledge for everybody. You know, I also want to enjoy my life. I also want to have fun. I also want to pursue my interests and hobbies. So there could be some, I won't say it's conflict because it's a sextile. Sextiles don't represent conflict, but it could if the opportunity isn't cultivated. You know, it's almost like if the opportunity isn't cultivated, that could cause a sense of tension. Now, what you got to remember is Mars will eventually square Pluto, so you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do with regards to this. If this is resonating for you, by the time that Mars gets to a square, which would be in 6 months' time, more or less. So over the next 6 months, I would say, your focus is very much going to be on taking some time out, you know, just enjoying life a little bit more, not taking things so seriously, especially as it pertains to a group of people. And it could be a group of people in your local environment, or people that are immediately outside of yourself, if that makes sense. So siblings, it could even be siblings, cousins as well, that kind of thing. Three more to go. So Capricorn, this is happening for you in your fourth house, personal private affairs. So Mars entering your fourth house is really shifting your focus and attention towards the family, the home, children, things that we do outside, away from the prying eyes, basically. It's sextiling Pluto, which is in your second house. Okay, so this is talking about resources, money, the things that we need in order to sustain ourselves. So the second house and the fourth house for you are being flagged up. Now, this talks about personal resources. This talks about resources that affect the family as a whole. It really does represent your sense of stability in life, basically. Mars is shifting your focus towards that sense of stability. Let me just think. Yeah, maybe you've not really known where to go with Mars transiting Neptune. Neptune adds a sense of illusion, or it can make things really clouded, or it can make things just really foggy. It's like I really don't know what I'm doing here. Mars is all about action, so you can imagine Mars like piercing through the fog, basically, and really like it's almost like I'm getting like waking everyone up and saying, hello, hello, can you not see what I'm trying to show you? That's really what Mars is doing, especially as it enters the fourth house. The fourth house is the home. So this is something that you could be doing from home. This is something that you could be doing independently in regards to your families. Let's just say you're a single parent. Your focus could be, you know, how am I going to cultivate a sense of wealth, you know, when it comes to my resources? You know, how am I going to do that? Again, Aquarius rules, hopes, wishes, dreams, aspirations, the boon that we get back from the hard work of Capricorn. Pluto moving into this sign, it's going to go back into the sign of Capricorn again, which is your first house. So you may be asked to redo something, you know, redo some type of a structure, redo some type of policy or ruling or something like that, so that when Pluto enters back into the sign of Aquarius, chances are Mars is not going to be in sextile to it anymore. Okay, so it's almost like these two planets are supercharging each other. You know, they share the same vibration. One, you know, one's high, one's low, but it's almost like this cycle is happening. So if you want to think of it like that, as I'm moving my mouse, I am seeing that, you know, this resources and this personal affairs does also kind of take into fact, you know, the people in our immediate environment, you know, groups of people. It could even be something along the lines of, how can I use, because that's what Mars does, how can I use my personal skills to cultivate a sense of wealth from the people in my local environment, basically. Okay, so something along those lines. So this is very much about personal skills and talents being utilized to create wealth, but also healing for the collective. Okay, it's not just about wealth, it's about healing the collective. So that's for you, Capricorn. I know Capricorns do tend to work quite hard. I am pretty much a 0 degree Capricorn because I'm a 29 degree Sag. It's known as a critical degree. Funnily enough, Mars is at 29 degrees here. Okay, so that's going to be symbolic for me in my chart. I think it's known as an anoretic degree. But again, there's a lot here to do with long-term health conditions, you know, and taking action towards those, you know, and really kind of embodying lessons learned, hard lessons learned. Okay, Saturn here, hard lessons learned in order to heal. Okay. Next, we are moving on to Aquarius. See what's going on for you. Another thing I will mention as well is if you are into this kind of stuff, okay, and you are into, you know, basically what I'm doing now, one of the charts that I do offer is called a progress chart. So a natal chart really talks about the energy that's embodied when you're born. Okay, the progress chart really talks about your state of energy now. So my progress chart, I am Aquarius rising. So this is actually going to relate to me as well. So this is where astrology can get very, very complex, you know. So when people say, you know, sun signs and really that's all they know about astrology, it's so much more than that. It really, really is. And I say people, I talk to people and they say, you know, oh, I don't believe in all that, it's rubbish and blah blah blah. And I just say to them, have you studied astrology? And they say no. And I say, well, I have. So right, Mars, 3rd house for you. Again, local environment, siblings, friends. These are like childhood friends that you've known a long time, or friends that you would consider quite close. Okay, sextiling Pluto on your ascendant. Now, this is transformation in your world. This is transformation in your life. There could be a need to let go of. There could be a need to let go of. Friends, basically. I need to let go of friends. I need to let go of see, I don't want to just say friends and siblings because it's more than that, but it's almost like there could be a need to let go of communication or interaction with people, let's just say, that are not serving your purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, you've got to remember that Mars and Pluto are pretty much the same. You know, they are different, obviously, but think of them as, you know, these two are just two ends of the same polarity. That makes sense. I hope it did. Yeah, so it's almost like these are two opposite ends, basically, of the same energy. So yeah, there's some focus in regards to your local environment. Okay, and again, with with it being in the sign of Aries, it's like my place in the world, my place in my local environment, my place in my in the relationship with my siblings, in the relationship with my long-term childhood friends or something like that. Mars entering this sign, it's next to Neptune. Okay, so there could have been a lot of confusion. Neptune tends to blur the lines a little bit. It tends to make things a little bit like hard to interpret. Excuse me, hard to interpret or make out or something like that. Mars is going to be moving away from that, okay, and it's going to be shifting more into the third house of Aries. It's going to be saying, you know, maybe I've taken some time and I'm seeing things a little bit more clearly now, or something like that. Again, like I said, third house is communication, and on this ascendant, it's almost like this is being verbalized. This is being, you know, it's with an attempt to transform and mature and develop. It could even be because Mercury is kind of like the lesser of Uranus in a sense, so it could even be like transforming childhood friendships into much more mature. It's like a mature dynamic, if that makes sense. There's a sense of maturity to it, is that's what I'm saying. It's almost like saying, you know, we've been jumping on the sofa for all these years, you know, maybe we should do something more grown up. You know, let's go for a meal on it. You know, I know it's a really crappy example, but just off the top of my head, that's it. It's almost like, let's stop plaiting each other's hair and let's actually go to the salon and get a proper adult haircut, you know, something like that. It's almost like saying, you know, let's develop this, this friendship, let's develop this this dynamic, basically. So this is really going to open up some type of an opportunity in regards to how you are viewed. Okay, the fact that you've been through some type of deep healing, transformative process, you're communicating that. It's almost like you're using that as a tool now. You're using it in your everyday language. You're using it in how you speak to people, how you communicate with people, and particularly those people that are immediate to you. So people that are local to you, so family, friends. You know, like I've been saying, this isn't an aspect in this case of the general public, because, you know, we've got Pluto here, and Pluto is it's almost like you're not in the public eye. Okay, you're not in the public eye. This is something that's not happening in the public eye, so to speak, because it's beneath the ascendant as well. It's almost like beneath the surface. However, as Pluto rises through the zodiac, it will go back into the sign of Capricorn. So there is things that are going to come out, and then it's obviously going to continue around the wheel with a means to transform a situation. Like I keep saying, you know, that's what Pluto wants to do. It wants to transform, and Mars wants to change. And lastly, we've got Pisces. So let's see what's coming in for you, Pisces. See, I told you I don't drink my tea. Okay, so for you, we have Mars in the second house. So for Pisces, it's all about money, resources, you know, food, the things that we put into our body, our physical well-being. Really, that's what it's about. The second house is the house of the fleshly self. You know, Taurus rules the body, it rules the throat. There could be some type of an inflammation going on in the throat right now. So if you've got inflamed glands or something like that, it could be quite critical at the 29th degree. But obviously it's moving into the sign of Aries. Aries is like inflammatory, so it could be some type of an inflammatory, like laryngitis or something like that. And if that resonates, then let me know. But this is very much health, connected to health. It's sextiling Pluto in your 12th house, long-term health conditions. Okay, one of the things that I do often say to people, because it's quite common, that have a lot of Taurus placements, is thyroid. Taurus rules the thyroid. The thyroid regulates the endocrine system, which directly links to Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. So there is something going on here with regards to inflammation in the throat, to do with a long-term health condition that may be quite difficult to for doctors to see and diagnose, actually, because Aquarius does rule the intellectuals, and in the 12th house, this would be the intellectuals at a hospital or the intellectuals at some type of you know, healing a facility, let's just say. This again would represent somebody in a position of power in one of those environments, okay, really kind of interacting with this Mars in the second house. It could also shift your focus towards your resources, you know, the things that you are putting into your body. Maybe you're actually looking at your diet and saying, is it something that I'm eating? Is it something that I'm using? Is it something, because Mars is a tool, food is a tool, it's a tool that we use to eat. So it could be something to do with that. Funnily enough, and I'm not going to mention this and go into it too deep, it's in opposition to the Black Moon Lilith, which talks about suppression, and Virgo, the digestive system. So it could be that something is not being filtered through the digestive system properly. It's creating some type of a buildup, a toxin, and then that's what's causing all these inflammations. So if that's the case, definitely get some type of a thyroid check. If not, some blood tests. Mars rules blood. Mars rules blood. So in the second house and the sixth house predominantly, and the 12th house, if you've got Mars in those houses, or if you've got Aries ruling any of those houses, you want to kind of pay particular attention to your blood work, basically. One of the things that is poorly aspecting Pluto in regards to this is Venus. Venus is known to rule sugar, you know, and again, it's moving into the sign of Taurus. So it's almost like an excess of something into the body, an excess of something into the system. Pluto is a toxin, and it represents decay. Okay, so again, it could be sugar based, it could be sugar related, it could be diabetes, it could be something to do with insulin resistance even. That's obviously a metabolic condition, which is ruled by Pluto, and it's like an underlying metabolic condition is what I'm getting at here. So if this is something that's happening to you, if you are suffering with your health at the moment and you are getting a lot of inflammation or something along those lines, I would actually be what's the word? I'd be keen to maybe get some blood work done and go and see your doctor and see if there's something that they can measure for. Failing that, if you don't want to do that, I actually do offer bioresonance testing, which I do along with these chart readings, so I can actually look at the anatomy of you from a health perspective to see what conditions could be underlying. Astrology charts load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if there's something that's in your chart, there is something that will balance it out, basically. That's what I'm attempting to do now with my health. To be quite honest with you, I feel like I'm getting a lot further than I am with doctors because you can't even get a frigging appointment. So there needs to be a new way to heal. This is the new way. Okay, so I can actually biohack your biological system and tap in and see what's going on with you. And if there is a cause for concern anywhere, that's when I would be saying, look, you need to go to your doctor and you need to speak to them about this. So if that's something you're interested in, you can find all the information on my website. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to stop sharing now so you can all see my big head again. I don't know what's going on with everything about me today, so whatever. My hat looks really dirty on this video, but okay. So yeah, so that's what we've got going on for May, basically, guys. I am going to be jumping back on throughout the month of May, but I just wanted to give a bit of an overview of what to expect. And again, the battery's on 15 minutes. I'm gonna be quick. But again, what it is that I'm trying to point out is, you know, when I go on about astrology and these transits and these aspects and things like that, it is literally because they don't just play out for a week. They don't just play out for a day. You might not even notice anything happening per se today. This is something that is going to come about over the next 20 years, and it's going to be re-triggered every 2 years. So if it's re-triggered every 2 years, because Pluto doesn't move, you know, so Pluto doesn't move. So every 2 years, you know, Mars is going to be sextiling Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And the Aquarius really talks about the central nervous system. It talks about the veins, basically, the veins in our body, and how things pass through our system in order to give us form, basically. So anything that's passing through the sign of Aquarius will bring a sense of form in the sign of Capricorn. Pluto in Aquarius is poisons, and this is why I think people have been, you know, of ill health a lot lately, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I'm out of breath. I'm done now. I am getting headache as well because this light is really hurting my eyes. I think I'm getting a bit of a migraine today. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Hopefully it resonated. Let me know if you like this style of video. Again, all of this is going to be changing soon. I'm going to put a video out to let you know what's coming up and when it's coming up and what to expect. And I'm really, really going to try my hardest to stick to this schedule, guys, because I know that people enjoy these videos. I've already had lots of people looking at the website today. I have put an offer up, so go over to Facebook, Instagram, my website, wherever, and use the code Taurus24 to get 50% off my readings at the moment. I am trying to raise money because I really want this wellness studio that I've seen, and I really want it, and I really need it. And so that's when I'll be doing all my live workshops, not live workshops, but you know, you can come down and you can come and sit with us and you can ask me all sorts of questions. We'll be doing very specific topics, you know, we'll be delving deep into the cosmic universe, and I will be your guide. So that should be really interesting. I'm going to leave it there, guys. It's been lovely, and I shall see you soon.